Hi there, my name is Dan West, and I'd like to share with you my Roubo Bench build, my version of a Roubo Bench. I started woodworking back in the 60s. I started my apprenticeship out of the Beverly Hills Local 1052 Union, and at the end of my 4-year apprenticeship, which I have served a full 4 years on a job site and in classrooms, at the end, when I got into finished woodworking, I changed my book from the Beverly Hills Local to the Cabinet Makers Local 721. I worked with a lot of German shops. They were all premium grade classification German shops, and we did all our cabinetry and millwork and installation in LA high-rises. We also did some residential in Beverly Hills and Bel Air, but primarily commercial work. And it was commercial, but still, it's a house is a house. I spent 12 years in France. I came back in 2010, but those 12 years I worked in an artisan woodworking shop, and we had 4 buildings there. One was dedicated to production work to keep the finances going, and the majority of the work, which was founded, we did restoration work for chateaus and government-owned monument buildings, and also there was high-end clients who would want some things. But primarily it was all traditional type of mortise and tenon, that type of work, even though we had machines. And believe me, I worked in a lot of shops here in LA, the best shops. But the equipment we had over there in France, we had 5 shapers, and man, they were powerful. They could cut anything, and they were really, really good machines. And stickers and the table saws were huge. They were, I think we had 16 8-inch blades, 3 belts on the motor, and you put a full plaque on this table. It gets slid. It slid through the through the blade. Almost the same concept as when you're cutting logs. And by the way, that's how we got all our wood too, from Africa and South America's full logs that were already bandsawed, and we had them drying out in certain areas out in the shop, in the yard, I should say. But aside from all the machines we had, NC equipment and other machines, banders, we had 4 sanders. Each one was a meter wide, and that too, I learned how to work in meters, and I tell you, that is the best, especially when you're dividing, shelves and whatnot. To divide in meters instead of inches and fractions, it's the only way I do anymore. But given that, my actual work area was quite small, and I had one of these benches. Now, I had no idea it was called a Roubo Bench. It never came up. We all had our own station and our own bench, and there was 5 of us, and 1 meter wide, which is 39 inches and 3/8 in fractions. 4 meters long, that's 13 feet and a half inches. But you might wonder why so big, but we some of these doors and windows in the chateaus are huge. They're actually maybe not so wide, but they're tall. And usually, if you've seen them in movies, they have very, very narrow rails, so stiles, I should say. So glass and all that, you just couldn't be hanging them off the side of a bench. You certainly wouldn't walk off too far to sawhorses and all that. So this video is primarily for the little guy in the garage. As you can see, I'm in my garage. I worked in some fine shops, but my garage is small, and a 2-car garage. But when you start putting equipment in there and whatnot, I can't store a lot of material at all. I try not to, and everything's got to be on wheels. And on top of that, I'm 68 years old, so I'm not a kid. And about 2 years ago on YouTube, I saw this Roubo Bench. I said, that's kind of what I had, in France, and I seen a lot of beautiful work. Bob Kossman, beautiful. You know, he put bird's eye maple over a lot of the areas that already had maple, but he put the bird's eye, and I've seen a lot of other exotic woods and very interesting conceptions too of design, and still keeping a Roubo, you know, theme. I got to thinking about it. At my age, you know, I certainly have the skills to do all types of inlay work and you know, fine woodworking. Well, that's what we did, you know. And but I primarily make doors, custom doors, cabinets, file cabinets, desks, bookshelves, you know, office furniture, and I don't try to get in the kitchens too much. You know, kitchen's a kitchen. But anyways, I got to thinking about it. And my age, I think, what the heck, you know. I'd take a shot at it, even in my small garage. I thought about it. I'm in the process of changing it to a shop anyways. So, at 68, small garage, I figured, what the hell, I'll go ahead and do it. Now, believe me, I would have loved to have made this bench in maple. But at over $3,000, I'd have to pay here in California. I just couldn't justify the cost. And primarily, again, at my age, you know, if I had been 30 years old, something like that, my life ahead of me, I probably would have done it. You know, I'd have made some way to do it, because I'd have it for a lot of years. Right now, I'm hoping I have a few years just to play with this thing. So I thought, what the world am I going to make it out of if I'm going to make it? And so I came up with Douglas fir, clear Douglas fir, kiln dried, of course, and quarter sawn, or you might call it vertical grain. And I'll tell you what, it's, you know, I mean, it's construction lumber, but I tell you what, it's beautiful. It really is nice. And I know some of you guys out there say, well, it's softwood, it's going to bang up. It's true, it is soft. You know, it's nothing like maple. But by the same token, I take care of my stuff. You know, all my tools and everything. I was taught years ago, you take care of your tools will take care of you. And you know, I never had a lot of toys like some kids did, so I took care of my stuff. So yeah, I use sacrificial boards. I always keep big chunks of cardboard around, you know, and I've learned to do a lot of installation in already inhabited offices that had almost $1 million in furnishings in there, so I know how to work around stuff without, you know, damaging it. And that's just my preference. I'm not saying it's better. Certainly if a man wants to take his bench, because my bench is going to be a workbench. Like a lot of guys, my bench is going to be a workbench. But I'm going to take care of it. Now, some guys, you know, stain on it, paint on it, cut into it. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. Everyone has their own way of doing things, you know. So, you know, don't get me wrong there. I'm just saying this is my way of doing it, my style of bench, and there's, variety makes the world turn. So, with that, I'll go and set up things to show you the machines that I made this monster out of. So, I'll see you in a few minutes, huh? Okay, we're back again, and these are the machines that I use to do the millwork on this bench that I put together, this Roubo Bench. DeWalt 12-inch thickness planer, and I mean, this baby is a good machine. You know, well worth the money, and never had a bit of problem with it. Don't laugh now. This is my joiner. Of all the machines I've worked with, and here I've got this little, almost like a toy actually. But I tell you what, this Porter Cable 6-inch joiner did a great job. Well worth the money. This thing did a great job. And of course, my DeWalt chop saw. It's kind of a combination chop saw, multiple angle, combination angle, and you could even call it regular arm to some extent. It does extend. So again, I've done a lot of work with this machine, and it's really a really good machine. The only other thing I would say that I used was my jet drill press. It's got all this material leaned up against it right now, which won't be there for long. But this jet drill press is a dream. It's I got the bigger one, and and I got the table. That's made for carpentry work, not metal work. So with that, I'm going to turn this off and get ready to show you this bench that I built. See you in a minute. Okay, here we go. This is my baby. This is my conception of a Roubo workbench to fit my needs. I told you the one I had in France at the Artisan Workshop was 1 meter by 4 meters, which is 39 3/8 inches by 13 feet and a half inches. I wanted a bench 3 feet wide by 8 feet long. I didn't draw plans because it's pretty simple to make. It's not really necessary for a lot of details and something like this. I don't think, anyways. And for me, it's pretty much like timber framing. But I tried to do the best I could, and I kept an accurate work log. It took me 200 hours of actual working time. No time calculated for conception of this and that, where I was going to put something or what. And I kept an accurate work log. I mean, a log in terms of weight. I was just curious. I wanted a heavy bench, and this little baby comes in at 637 pounds. And that top dimension is 5 inches and 1/8 all the way. There's no hollow in the middle. It's solid all the way across. Now, I mentioned to you I would have loved to have made this thing out of maple, but like I mentioned, over $3,000 for the material here in California couldn't justify it. And this is, like I mentioned, Doug fir, clear Doug fir, 2x6s, all 2x6s, vertical grain, kiln dried, of course. And I'll tell you what, this is construction wood, but it's beautiful. And again, I know it's soft, but I don't bang on my bench directly and bang my planes on the top and all. I'm pretty careful with that. I've always had to work around finished products, so I've got habits of protecting things that I'm working on. And it's square, dead nut square. That top is dead nuts square from corner to corner to the millimeter. So is the carcass. I pulled strings to see if it was parallel. It is parallel. As you can see, I've got a panel down there. I just couldn't see, losing all that wasted space, so the panel's not finished. Piano hinge, access from both sides. I haven't trimmed the edges yet, and I'm not sure what kind of a pole I want to use to lift it. I don't want something sticking up, but it covers the whole bed there, and debris won't get inside, and you can still, I can still put tools on top as I'm working on the lid. So I thought it'd be a good way to do that. It's all glued mortise and tenon with walnut pegs, as you can see. Some of the deals here is this Rockler quick release 12-inch vise, and it is a jewel. The only thing I have about this rocker vise is the screw holes. I don't know if you can see it, but they're countersunk, and I could not find a lag bolt or a bolt that had a countersunk configuration like that. I know they sell them someplace. I looked all over, and I didn't want to spend a lifetime trying to find it, so I just went with lag bolts, and that's probably the only plane I have. I'm going to later put some black paint on those bolts. I've got a little can there. As you can see, I put dog holes, and Mr. Paul Sellers designed for a dog. And I'll tell you what, that little sucker, it is so simple, and that thing functions, and that's what I like about anything. Does it work? The idea of it breaking is, I think, is nonsensical, because it's just popular. But how much pressure you want to put on something like that anyway? You put too much pressure, you start to bow your material. So you just want to keep it steady, and it does the job. I'm going to put a row of holes down the center on both tops for my valets, or you call them out here hold downs. I've laid it out to see what kind of configuration I would need to hold any type of workpiece I would need, and come up with that configuration right down the middle on both of them. Inside of my valleys, I can hold anything. There's no problem. I just didn't want to put holes every which way. That's just my personal preference. I'm not saying it's the best, but I just wanted something that was kind of uniform, looked like it was well laid out and planned. Over here are the rollers that I made for this bench, because as big as it was, I had to have some means of moving around. Again, I'm in a garage, and I'm primarily making this video for the guy in a garage like I am. You like to do woodworking, but you're kind of confined area. You can still do it as long as your machines are on rollers. You're going to have to be moving them around. It can be done, and again, I'm doing this pretty late in life. I'm 68 years old, so you probably think I'm nuts, but that's what I like to do. As you can see, these are on hinges, so that, if I can bring one over here, I'll show you. The 1-inch oak dowel goes up into the leg, and it can be opened up so that if you want to get it on the flat and not remove the whole assembly, you can. There's the pads that would sit on directly on the floor, and I made them pretty sturdy, so they're going to be part of the bench. And when this goes off to someone else, they'll have this to be able to move it around. Because I know this thing is going to go to somebody. I don't know who. No one in my family. No one does work, so I'm going to try to find someone who might like to have it and maybe set something up so that whenever I kick off, it's already set up for them to have it. But the sliding dead man, that's a African mahogany, really a cool thing. This is my little baby here. You can slide this thing over. Roubo, bench crafted, the model retro leg vise. This is a jewel. Now, I'm going to try to show you something here, and I hope you don't get vertigo, but I'm going to show you where this screw goes, because if you can see, that screw, you don't see it back here. It goes right into the cross member. So I'm going to turn this camera around, see if I can give you a view of it, and bear with me, okay? Now, I'm hoping you can see it. I'm going to slide it around back and forth here, and I hope you can see that Dutchman I put in there. You can see how the lag bolts are offset, especially on this one here, because I had to do some custom work on the mortise and tenon. Why did I fill it? Good question. Wouldn't it have been better to leave it open? Yeah, sure. If I ever had to get to it, it's all there. You can't see it anyways. The only one who could see that open, if I left it open, would be the drunk who fell off a stool, laying on the floor looking up, But no, I just wanted it clean looking, and the only one who'd ever really notice it would be another craftsman, I would imagine. So that's what I did, and this is a great that's a great vise. I tell you what, the vise I had in France, on my bench in France, was a wood vise, a wood screw. Man, oh man, I'm glad to have this one. Turning a wood screw any length is a drag, really. You know, you get used to it, but I mean, this thing is makes you it's just so beautiful, so quick and easy. My dovetails are all pretty tight. They're waxed. I don't have any glue in them. This bench is made, the top made to come off. I mentioned some lag bolts. My bench in France was a solid top, and when I first saw these Roubo benches about 2 years ago on YouTube, and saw these split tops, I didn't like them. I thought they were ugly. I really didn't care for them at all. You know, my own personal preference. I wanted a solid 3 foot, 3 foot top. Well, I start to fabricate this thing and realize there's no way I'm going to be able to manipulate a solid top, a 3 foot solid top, over 5 inches thick. So I had to go to the split top, and I'll tell you what, I'm glad I did. I really like it. I take back everything I might have said or even thought about them. I really like the split top. And this centerpiece for split top, not a bad idea. You can take it out. It makes it so much versatile for clamping and whatever. It really is a good idea. So I'm glad I did. What else? I guess that's really about it. Like I said, the storage top, the storage piece of plywood is not finished yet. I got some more holes to drill for the hold downs. There is one other thing. I have no videos on this build, but I do have a lot of snapshots, and I might, put some up if anyone's interested. Got any questions or whatever. Again, this really, I'm hoping this will, affect the guy who has just a garage, a small workspace. It can work. You really can. My place in France was very small. My work area, but I got a lot done with a lot of big items. You just have to move things around. That's the only drag about it. There is one thing that I'm going to make a video on, and that's I was watching the woodworkers the other day on YouTube. Mark, I don't want to say his last name, but I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, and I don't want to embarrass him or insult him. But he was talking about what I call tuning, but he called flattening a top. I refer to it as tuning it, straight, flat, whatever. And the more I listened to it, the more he's talking about his little top was about the same amount as mine is in the same location. And I don't know why, but that kind of struck me. And here I've been really getting ready to take my plane and hand plane this thing, tune it down to where it's supposed to be. And when I listen to that video, I got to thank him, because I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to use a router. In fact, I'm not going to go by 2x6s, because he's right. Once you plane those 2x6s straight, you've got to get right on it, because they will move. At 68 years old, I don't run at anything. I got other things to do. Sometimes I'll do it now, sometimes I'll do it later. But I'm not going to get exotic, but I am going to go a little bit different way. Not to say Mark's is not good. It's very good. I'm just doing it a little bit different. And I'm not going to get exotic, but I am going to go with this. Angle, aluminum, 1/8 inch thick. And it's already pre-drilled, laid everything out. I've got some plywood strips that I'm going to use, so plywood's pretty sturdy, and they'll be fastened to blocks. So I'm taking the movement all out of the equation here. And as you can see, I already bought my cutters, and man, these suckers are expensive. But you know what? What the heck? It's what you got to do. There's my metric ruler that I've always had. I've had that thing for a long time. You see how, by the way, see how that metric ruler is rounded? So that they don't make these anymore over there either. It's rounded, and it's not out of war. It's so that you don't damage your material when you're putting your ruler down and you're working with something. It's all rounded all the way around. There's no sharp edge, nothing whatsoever. That's a 2 meter, by the way, 2 meter ruler, and I have regular ones, but I have my metric measure. And I say, metric system is, in my opinion, the best because, especially when you're doing fine woodworking, when you're trying to divide something, shelves or whatever, or pinholes, whatever, you're trying to get you take those fractions right out of the equation. You're just dealing with the solid numbers. It's so much easier to do layout work that way. Other than that, I'm going to make video when I do take a router and plane this top down flat. That's about the last thing I've got to do with this bench. I mean, aside from putting some tung oil on it, because I don't want to stain it. Still haven't covered, and I should do that, immediately. That when I get everything all flattened out, I'll have to hit the tops of the chops too a little bit, that might be an interesting video. I mean, interesting because I've never done it before. I mean, I'm new at this, so bear with me. And again, I hope this is going to give some incentive to someone who's again in a small area. I tell you, when you get a bench like this, I make, like I said, I make doors and cabinets, and you just can't. I mean, I know you can, but to work on sawhorses and plywood on some 2x4s, I mean, it's a drag. It's I'm using Jurgensen clamps, screwing them down the whole boards, and all kind of clamps this way, that way to hold things, and believe me, this bench is made for that. There's no fooling around, and of course, just the sheer size of it. Me personally, I wouldn't want a small one. The small is going to move anyways. Now, if you're a carver, that's altogether different. You're not going to be putting a lot of force on it. But boy, if you're going to be doing some heavy planing or whatever, you really need something substantial. Anyways, that's it. I hope it was interesting for you. Maybe it's a laugh, kind of a joke. I can understand. I mean, like I said, there's all different ways of doing things and different ideas. And I'm not. But again, I'm not saying mine's the best. There's some great guys out there. Bob Cosman, we would say he's got good hands because he does some beautiful work. And I've seen some of these benches made out of exotic woods, and just beautiful. And it's not that I can't do it. I've done it back in France. I did a lot of work like that with a lot of exotic woods, inlays, and for me, it's a matter of money. I just don't have that kind of money to put out in that kind of material. But again, this thing here was fun. Like I say, I thought it was timber framing. So with that, I'll just say thanks for watching, and I hope you had some amusement out of it. If you've got any questions, feel free. Please comment or questions. And with that, I'll say goodbye. See you next time.